Hey guys, it's JP, and this time I'm going to talk about why you should try decreasing your step rate. This basically means to decrease how quickly you take steps as you run. Now, this might come off a bit controversial as I already made a video on why increasing your step rate or cadence may be helpful. And plenty of videos looking at step rate manipulation usually only talk about increasing it as well. However, that is not the only option to go for when manipulating this variable. I did not want to make a short form video on this as this one requires a bit more context. In this video, I will talk more about why this strategy may be useful in helping you run faster. First, let's talk briefly on the purpose of increasing your step rate. In a previous video, I talked about the 5-20 rule, which basically means that a 5% increase in step rate can decrease forces seen in the knee by 20% as you run. Shout out to Chris Johnson for coining this one. Anyway, this was based on research looking at the effects of step rate by Heiderscheid. Basically, if someone has pain when they run, specifically at the knee, increasing step rate can be a simple and effective way to help a runner continue running. So, I just talked about why increasing step rate can be useful, but now how about decreasing it? Generally, if a runner is not limited by pain, this is an option they can experiment with. Let's talk about what this may do. First, let's look at a simple equation for speed, which is speed equal to step rate multiplied by step length. If you decrease your step rate, you will need to increase your step length to maintain the same pace. Now let's talk about what contributes to your step length or how big your step is. One obvious thing is the length of your limbs. However, just because you have longer legs does not necessarily mean that you will have a longer step as you run when compared to a person with shorter legs. This is because another factor you have to think about is the power you produce as your foot pushes against the ground to propel you forward. The more force you can produce, the farther forward you will go, therefore increasing your step length. It is this factor that will mostly be affected when you try to decrease your step rate. Now, how can this be beneficial to running? By decreasing your step rate, this will force you to try to produce more power with each step you take as you run. This can be a way to help improve the amount of force you generate. This is kind of similar to the concept to why strength training can be beneficial to runners. To put it simply, strength training can help improve the capacity of your muscles to do their job as you run to help you go faster. However, the problem with strength training is that the actual strength of the muscles does not always correlate to being faster. This may be due to the fact that running is not really about how strong the muscle is, but rather how fast you can produce the force, which is known as power. This is why strength coaches tend to focus on more power-oriented exercises when race day is coming closer. They are basically working on converting the strength you built into power so it can be more applicable to the sport the athlete is participating in. Now, to get even better results with training, you typically want to make these exercises more sport specific so they can better translate into improving their performance. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, so I will summarize how this can be applicable for a runner. By decreasing step rate, you will have to generate more power with each step to maintain the same pace. This helps improve the leg's ability to produce force in the most sport-specific way because you are already running. To give an example of how this can be done, maintain the desired pace you want for a run. A treadmill can be a useful way to get started as it will keep you at a constant pace. Then, figure out your preferred step rate and attempt to decrease it by 3 to 5%. For example, if you present with a step rate of around 180 steps per minute, you can try running at around 170 to 175 steps per minute. I would only try this for short bouts initially with a reasonable pace. Then, after having done a couple sessions of this, I typically test the athlete out without any restrictions. When you combine the improved power from the legs, along with going back to your preferred step rate, you may notice that you will be able to run faster with a lower effort. And that's all for the video. I hope that gave some context on why decreasing your step rate may not be a bad idea to experiment with. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any questions you may have. And as always, thank you for watching.